I'm a master tier mid laner who works a 9 to 5, but this year, I'm going to hit Challenger so that I can solo kill Faker when he comes to North America for Worlds. Yo, what's up YouTube? Today I'm going to be talking about laning into control mages like Orianna, Victor, and Syndra, and I'm going to be breaking down some gameplay examples. These champions can definitely be very difficult for a lot of champs to lane into, so let's get right into it. Control mages are champions that really love the isolated 1v1, but they perform pretty badly in early 2v2s and 3v3s. So what they want to do is they want to get push in lane and slow build waves into your tower in order to maximize their trading opportunities. This ends up usually forcing you out of lane, and they build small farm and XP leads over time, slowly choking you out of the game, and this also limits any 2v2 or skirmish opportunities you may have because you're either too low or you're busy catching CS under tower. And this video is mostly going to be talking from a Swain perspective since that's my main champion, but a lot of what I say can be applied to other champions and other matchups as well. From the Swain side of this matchup, we're not really looking to solo kill or dominate this matchup super hard. All we're really looking to do is mitigate our losses and get to level 6 as even as possible, and then go make some plays with our ult. So how do we actually do this? I like to use something called offense as defense, and before I fully explain what that is, we have to explore some underlying concepts to this strategy, such as trading, lane push, and lane space. Broadly speaking, there's two types of trading: cooldown based trading and minion based trading. Cooldown based trading is damaging your opponent when they don't have their spells up so they can't retaliate, and minion based trading is damaging your opponent when they're going for a last hit, so they have to choose between getting the CS or avoiding your damage. The way minion based trading ties into lane push is that when you have the lane pushing, you actually have more opportunities to execute minion based trading. And what I mean by that is, right here you can see I've just killed his first minion of the wave, but he hasn't killed mine yet. So theoretically, if I had my Q up, I could just walk up here, and when he's about to last hit this minion, I just Q him in the face. And there's nothing he can really do about it back, and I don't really lose anything for it because I've already killed the minion. So what a lot of control mages like to do is they like to contest push at the start of the lane, and they also want to keep the lane in the middle while they build up 2 to 3 waves slowly. And they do this because it means you have to walk up pretty far into the lane to actually last hit these minions, and they can trade onto you for free in that time, because as you can see here, this Ryze needs to last hit these 2 minions, but I'm just free to auto him and trade with him because none of these minions are low enough for me to last hit yet. So they do this over time, and they slowly chip away at your health bar, and eventually when they have a big enough wave, they're going to crash it into your tower. And at this point, you will be in a conundrum because you'll be at such low HP that you're going to have to risk dying, or you have to sack a really big wave. And the other thing that this does is, since these champions don't really want to fight 2v2s or skirmishes really early, if you're trapped under your tower at low HP with a big wave to catch, you can't join any skirmishes that are happening on the map. Now, the way cooldown based trading ties into this is with lane space. Now, let's say Syndra gets to the wave first and starts pushing, and you don't actually contest it. What's going to happen is she's going to build a minion lead, and then she's going to try to zone you from the wave with her Q. Like, let's say this is Syndra's Q range, and let's say you're walking at the edge of it and you manage to bait out the Q. That's your Q to go and take space in the lane. But the problem is, you're so far back that you can only take a limited amount of space before she has her Q back up. So in this case, you can maybe get to neutral, but the problem is the wave is building up for her, so you can't even do anything with the space that you've taken. So if you haven't already guessed yet, what offense as defense essentially means is we are going to try to prevent this strategy of the slow wave stack. And how we do that is we need to contest the push and take space in the lane and trade our HP to do that if necessary. It's a very scrappy style, and we'll be trading back on our opponent a lot, and we'll be trying to bait out spells so we can play more aggressive. This style requires a lot of mechanical proficiency, especially the higher up you go, because you need to be really good at baiting out spells, dodging spells, and getting high value Qs through the wave and onto the opponent. And for this reason, I'd recommend starting Q in this matchup and going Ares Scorch to better enable this playstyle. Let's go ahead and take a look at some gameplay examples. So I actually want to take a look at an example of a bad lane first to basically show you guys what not to do and what it looks like when you don't implement this strategy. So first thing we already see here is that Swain is all the way back here and he's not actually contesting the push on these minions. This is already really bad because it lets Oriana get a few autos onto the minions before the Swain can even contest, which generates her that slow build of the minions. But let's see how it goes. Another thing is the Swain did go Conquer, so he doesn't have that Ares Scorch, and it looks like Oriana actually chooses not to hit the minions too much, so Swain does luck out a little bit there. And he goes for an E here, and he whiffs, and this is a 10-second cooldown. Now imagine instead, Oriana doesn't have Q up here. If he started Q, he could get the Q through these two minions, onto her, proc Ares Scorch, and then he'd have a 3-minion advantage, generating the push onto the Ori, which would pressure the Ori to last hit, and he could find more space and more trading opportunities onto her. But instead, he starts E, and he's getting zoned out now. And you can see the slow build slowly starting. E is a very long cooldown, so it's like, he can't really use it to trade. He does get the E there, but once again, it generates him no space in the lane. Oriana gets level 2 first. And he's just getting poked down brutally. And there's not really much he can do. As you can see, he has no space in the lane. He's just getting zoned by the ball. And if we just pause here, it's been the first 2 waves and the Swain already has no pots. And this Ori still has both of her. So he's already in a terrible position. He's not really like mitigating his losses very much because he's going to take a bunch more harass under tower. And he might have to recall at some point to miss even more minions. And let's see if that actually happens here. Yeah, so it looks like he tries to recall. He's down 9 CS. If he recalled, he would have missed even more. And yeah, it looks like he's just going to get solo killed. So he got solo killed at 330. Now let's look at an example of what a good lane looks like. So for our first example, we're going to be looking at Swain versus Oriana. Just a small tip into these matchups. Sometimes they like to stand up here to zone you from the wave and get the first hit on the minions like Oriana Syndra. Something you can do. Just start in the bush, walk up like this so they can't deny you the space, or it's harder for them to do so anyway. But yeah, let's keep going. So as you can see, unlike the last VOD, I'm contesting the push right away. I try to space that Q, unfortunately I don't get to, but we get an insanely high value Q here, which goes through the minions and onto her. So it's really good, we're getting the push already. She uses Q again, so that's my Q to take space in lane. And I see that she has to last hit this minion. So when she goes for it, I just Q her in the face. I am missing a bunch of CS, so as you can see, there's like a very mechanics min-max kind of style. Like the better you are with spacing, farming, and everything, the better this will work for you. And I'm not really afraid to take damage and put it back. I do a really good job spacing that Q. And here, I try to go for a Q through the minions onto her, because this minion is going to get me level 2. Unfortunately, I miss her, but we still generate the push. And when she last hits that, I go for a nice E onto her. And this lane is going much better than the last video that we watched. So here, when this, I try to tether this Q, but when this Q is hitting me, because I mistether it, I'm just walking up because I know I'm going to take the damage anyway, so let's just try to get some back. We're playing this very scrappy style where we're both going to probably end up being pretty low, so it's like on a nice edge. So you really have to be confident in your mechanics to execute. And we land a nice E, and she's zoned out of lane. And now she's essentially in the same situation that that Swain was in the last video, where she has to choose between sacking a bunch of minions and recalling or risking death under tower. And eventually, I think right here, she walks up to last hit these 2 minions. We get a pull, and we get a solo kill on her. And now we're in a really nice situation where we can hit level 6 soon. She won't be able to pressure us too much because we actually have a lead. And we'll be going into river fights with a lead once we hit level 6 and we can make a play with our jungler. So second example, I'm playing into Oriana again. This one I mechanically executed a lot worse, but the same underlying fundamentals got me through lane, so I wanted to show it anyway. Small tip versus Oriana, don't trade autos because of how her passive works. But as you can see, I didn't do that, and I missed that Q, so start of the lane is not going too well, but since we got the Q on the wave, we're still able to contest the push, which means she's not going to be able to get that slow build that she wants. So even though we're not doing a very good job dodging her spells or trading, we're still denying her that slow build, which is ultimately what we want. Now we go for a ward here. I didn't go for a ward in the last game because I think the enemy jungler was like Mundo or something. We both miss our Qs there, and since I went for this ward, I don't actually get level 2 first since I'm a bit late to the lane. So we just have to respect it a bit. And as you can see, it's absolutely atrocious. I'm missing every minion, but it kind of goes to show that even though I'm playing this bad and I'm still mitigating her power in the lane, like, it's a very mechanics-centered framework where the better you are, the better this is going to work for you. So just really hammer down on that movement and that lane fundamentals, guys. So here, I try to go for a Q onto her and the wave, don't really get it. And this is just an atrocious E. I tried to punish this last hit right here, but it's just way too late. And I just need to hold it for the next minion. But yeah, as you can see, we're doing a good job not letting her slow build. And once she uses Q, we're going to walk up, and on this last hit, we're going to punish. And she doesn't actually go for the last hit, she goes for the auto instead. And I get a nice E. And the reason I don't stay for an extra auto is, 1, we don't want to trade autos against Ori. 2, she has QW up. So we're not just taking damage for free here, guys. We want to make sure we're purposeful with the damage that we're taking. So we take some damage here, and we use it to get some space in the lane, and Q the wave for the push. And this is a really good trade. So right here, I know she's walking up to punish me on this last hit, and I'm pretty sure she did this in the lane earlier too. So I auto and I insta-Q just to get some damage back onto her. So it's going pretty good so far. And here, I just sort of read her movement a little bit and go for a nice E. And unfortunately, I didn't take Scorch this game because I was testing something, but she's zoned out of the lane, and if I'd Scorch, it would have been a kill. And it's essentially the same situation as last game, where we're in a very good position to build a lead, and when we hit level 6, we can make a play with our jungler. Anyway, that's all I have for you guys today. It's a bit of a different style of video, but let me know what you guys think, or if you want to see some other matchups, or if there's anything I could have explained better, and I'll see you guys next time.